Let me pull me up, y'all. Let me pull me up and make sure that I can hear myself talk. Y'all know where y'all at. Y'all know where y'all at. If y'all are here, come on in here. Let's have this Sunday night chit chat. Come on in here. Soon as I find out, there I go. I can hear myself talk. Listen, one day I'm putting this right now, the time now. Okay, let's back up. Welcome to Hood Parenting Live. I'm your host, Yashika Foster. If this is your first time, thank you so much for joining me. I don't know how you got here, but I appreciate you for visiting, okay? So listen, I'm putting this out in the atmosphere, okay? We're right at the 1 minute mark as I speak. And I'm putting this out in the atmosphere. Today is November the 16th. November the 16th, 2025. So, what I'm putting out here in the atmosphere is that 90 days from now, which means that takes me to February the 16th, 2026. I want to be able to, or shall I say, I will be able to have Hood Parenting Live on Sundays where I have an audience that I'm talking to because this platform on Sundays, I really want it to be a dialogue between the people who follow me for whatever reason, right? Because they come here to get some of this hood education, honey, this hood parenting, right? They follow me and they want to hear those stories, those truths, right? Because that's what hood parenting is about. Hood parenting is about, I would say, not parenting, because not everybody that's here, I will look at it and say, I am their parent. However, it's very much parental advice. The advice that I give is very much parental advice because the reason why I know it's parental advice because it's tried and true, honey. It's tried and true. Whether it is things that I've been through, things that the ancestors have been through, things that are currently going on, things that people have went through and they told me about, whether I experienced it, I saw it, I had an eye to it. You know what I'm saying? I was in the front row. Sometimes I was in the back. Sometimes I was in the middle. Sometimes I was on both sides. Just depends on what was going on. Okay. Just depends on what was going on. And so what I know about life is that we can sit here and look at life and say, okay, I want to do things this way. Listen, life is not a one size fit all, right? I cannot tell you to live your life in a way where it aligns with something that I've done. That's not how that works because life is not a one size fit all. Your life is your life. My life is wild. My life. No two lives will ever be the same. What I will say is not everything that you experience in life have to be things that you go through that is something that breaks you or makes you or whatever. Like some things you don't have to go through. Like you don't have to touch fire to know it's hot, right? You've been told enough, or better yet, you've burned yourself enough accidentally through the years to know that I don't have to go into light a fire and put my hands in there to know it's hot. I have enough experience and enough of what I know thus far to know that that fire is hot and I don't have to go and do it. And this is what hood parenting is about. Hood parenting is about taking those lessons that other people have been through, good, bad, or indifferent, finding the parts that maybe you can use now, maybe the parts you can't use, maybe you put them in your kick bag for later. But whatever it is, it provides you with some type of understanding, some type of clarity, some type of guidance, right? Because listen, there's things in life that we gonna go through. There's no book, there's no nothing. Even the path of hood parenting, I'm just gonna use this for an example. I know for a fact that in terms of this being a brand, I'm the first one. Yes, honey, I'm the first one. So now, in saying that, is I don't have anyone that I can call and say, okay, when when you did hood parenting before, when you was a coach, when you was a mentor, when you was doing these things, or lining yourself up for this brand, what were the things that you did? I can't ask those specific things. However, what I can do is take lessons, take the trials and the tribulations, take the do's and the don'ts, take the maybes, take the possibilities, takes the don't even do it, don't even go near it. Do whatever you got to do. And you take all the experiences that people have been through and you say, okay, I can see where I can probably use some of this, but you know what? I'm going to put that part back because that doesn't apply to me. Right. Or better yet, you know what? Let me not go over there because you know what? And people say, well, you know, you got to experience things for yourself. Not everything is meant to be experienced for yourself. I don't know if y'all realize, but life is shorter than we think. I don't care if you live to be 150. Life is still short. Why? Because there is no way in the world you can experience every single thing. So every day you experience something new because why? Every day brings you a new day. So if every day brings you a new day, you don't have time to be repeating lessons all over again. You don't have the time to be repeating the lessons that's already been taught, the lessons that's already been done, the ones that we already said, don't you do that. That fire's hot. Don't you touch that fire. Okay? We already did that. Ain't no need for you to do it again. So this is what hood parenting is about. It's clean. It's just raw. It's unfiltered, honey. It's unfiltered. Okay. So now that we've gotten that part out of the way, let me see if I got people that want to come in here yet and say hello to me. Let me see. Let me see. I got a few watching. Listen, if y'all have not know, before I get started on today, if you do not know, I am on season 2 of Squid Games: The Challenge. Okay, I am player 309, contestant 309. Okay, now I won't tell you. Well, I mean, I got, of course, I was on a live on the show. All right. I won't tell you what episode. You got to go find me for yourself. Okay. But one day I'm going to talk about that particular manifestation. And yeah, and I hope that that's something that if you are here today, you come back and hear that because when I tell you manifestation is real, manifestation is alive and real. Okay. And so when I tell my Squid Game and how I became a contestant on Squid Game, what I'm going to do is tell the story of manifestation. Okay. So if you are not subscribed and you don't have your notifications on, take the time right now, show me some love, go ahead and subscribe, turn on your notifications. So when I do drop that video about manifestation and Squid Games, you will know when I go live. So if you're here, you can ask any questions you need to know, especially pertaining to how to become a contestant on one of those reality shows, honey. Let's go on with today. Today we are talking about resiliency. Why? Because I recognize that, let me say this. I live in a world, I'm a Gen Xer. And so because I am a Gen Xer, I come from that generation of you supposed to have your credentials, right? You need your certificates, you need your credentials, you need all the things in order to say, you know what, I can talk about that. So because I accidentally was in that generation or I thought that that's the way life was, there was times where I would take courses and I would take classes and I would take things and I would get certified and credentialed in it and did not know that these were things that was aligning up for me, things that I was supposed to do. And one of those things that I am certified in is MRT. MRT is stands for Military Resiliency Training, right? That means that the Army chose me when I was in the military to go to a school in the Carolinas, and I became resiliency certified through Penn State University. All right. And so when I think about resiliency and all the things that's going on in today's world and the things that people talk to me about and the things that I know that I get in my inboxes and out on the streets and just all kind of things, excuse me, just all kind of things that I hear. And even some of the things that people say to me where I know for a fact that it's that person carrying old things because of what they've been told because of what reason, right? For example, um, when you come from a broken family, then these are the things that happen, right? The things that we, for whatever reason, hear ourselves being told. And so sometimes we'll take those things with us in life and adopt those as our reality and not even know it. And so I wanted to talk about those things because what I recognize about resiliency is that resiliency is a muscle. Okay. It is a muscle that you build, and you build it through experiencing some type of adversity, some type of pushback. And here's the thing, it doesn't have to be one of those things where you have the kind of pushback where every day you're going through a hardship, or you've lost something, or you're barely holding on. No, honey, that's not what hardship necessarily. That is hardship, but we don't want to be there every day. Like, we don't, like, please, Lord, I don't want to be there every day. Sometimes you have to build things for yourself to build those resiliency muscles, right? And so some of the things we're going to talk about, I'm going to get this paper. Some of the things we're going to talk about is building resiliency. And so in this particular series, I have titled this one Resiliency in Motion, because I know that there are so many things that I've been through in life, or experiences that I've had, that I know that people will look at those things and say, well, you've been through these things. And so therefore it's like, who told you that because I've been through these things, that makes it a bad thing all in all? Because many things can be true about a thing at one time. And so before I start like really, really digging into that, I wanted to talk about why I feel like the resiliency series or resiliency emotion in motion is something that I know that is needed, right? And like I said, when we talk about healing and things, and I've said in the past, when we talk about healing, a lot of times we're talking about healing in the past tense, like, and like I've healed from this and therefore no more. Instead of us looking at things in our healing process or our healing journey and saying, you know what, those things happen and that was bad and I cannot change it. But the lesson that was learned from it, those are one of the ways in which resiliency is built. You're taking those things that you've been through, and although it may have broken you down, it may have, like, no matter what it is, right? Because I mean, we've been through things. Myself, I've been through loss. I've been through loss of twins when I was pregnant, with my second pregnancy. I've been through divorce twice. I've been loss of my father. We all experience loss. I've been through, just certain things, right? But I looked at those things as what were the lessons in those times? What were the things that I took from those losses? And so a lot of times when we look at resiliency, we look at it like, well, I got through it. And because I got through this, then I'm okay. But we don't recognize that unless we learn the lesson in that particular situation or in that season, we're going to keep on going through those things again. That I do know. And so sometimes until we learn the lesson, God will continue to take us through it again, through it again, and through it again. And so I want to do the resiliency in motion because I want us to reframe the way in which we see life. I want us to reframe the way in which we see obstacles or situations or things that we've been through. Because people sometimes will make us believe that because we've been through these things, that, oh my God, like for example, and I'm going to say this because I want to give a good example where people could really understand. For example, before I was 40, I was divorced twice. Okay. And so, depending on who the person is, they will look at that and say, well, you couldn't figure it out, or you didn't figure it out, or you failed twice. Whatever their idea of what perfection is or what marriage is, whatever they think it is, they'll say those things to a person like myself who've been divorced twice. However, that's not how I see my divorces now. Are there some things in there that you could probably say, well, it didn't work? That's true, it didn't work. It failed. That is true, it did fail, right? Y'all didn't make it. That's true, we did make it. I mean, those things are true. That doesn't negate the fact that two men loved me and asked me to be their wife. You see that, how that works? Do you see how that works? right? I don't care about what nobody say about what they think marriage is supposed to be, or because let me tell you something, you don't know until you try it, right? Just like that fire, sometimes that fire is hot. You know that fire is hot. We ain't got to try that, but when it comes to certain things, we got to try it to see, right? And marriage is just one of those things, right? That don't mean you don't try. That means you try and you try again. And honey, I'm gonna try a third time. So if Mr. Third Time is out there, honey, make yourself known. Put yourself down there in the comments, okay? Put your, shoot me a light or something, like a bat signal or something. Y'all know what you do. A hoo hoo. Do something. Let me know you out there. Do something. Let me know you out there, okay? Because, honey, the elders told me that third time's a charm, okay? They say the third time's a charm, honey. So when I tell you that I believe them, I believe them, okay? And so I want my third time, okay? Another thing that we talk about when we talk about resiliency is making the connection and where those things come from. In other words, when we talk about how I built resiliency in terms of me looking at my marriage, because why I see that, I know that not everybody in life, okay, here's the thing. I'm not going to say that everybody in life want to be married. I'm not going to say that in life that every person that ever walked this earth wanted to be married and will be married, because we all know that neither one of those things is true. What I do know is that I have been married twice. What I do know is that that's not everybody's reality, even when they want it to be their reality, or when they wanted to some of it to be their reality. And so why would I dare look at something like that in a negative light? Why would I dare look at it in a negative light? Because even in that sense of someone loving me or two people loving me, it's also the beautiful things that I got out of those marriages, right? My children. I became a woman in those marriages. First time I got married, I was 18. The second time I was 27. I know that I went through different type of transformations in those relationships. And without those relationships, I would not be the woman that I am sitting here today. And I know that today I am at my best. And tomorrow I will be even better than I am today, and so on and so forth. Why? Because every day I strive to be better that day than I was the day before. And so we do that by building those resiliency muscles. And how we build those resiliency muscles, taking the things that we've been through and using them and reshaping them, not allowing what other people or other ones' experiences or people life experiences to take our lives and we make it our own belief. No, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And then when we think about resiliency, right? What is the core message of that, right? Resiliency, we know, is a muscle. So, what is the core message of that? What is that truth that we want to be known when we are going through that thing, right? What is that thing that we want to be known? What is it that we want to be known? Because when we're building resiliency, right? And again, we don't always have to build it through going through hardship and heartache. And I want to make that point very clear. One of the things that I do to build my resiliency muscle, okay? So if those of you who are out there who is like, okay, well, life is great, because I'm not saying go out here and create hardship, no. But the way that you keep yourself in that mode of being able to persevere, being able to work through, being able to overcome, is that you challenge yourself. It might be okay, one of the things that I'm big about is challenging myself from a physical perspective. It might be, okay, well, I'm going to lose 5 pounds this month, or I am going to spend the next 30 days now eating carbs and sugars, or I'm going to do this. These are ways in which I challenge myself, because when I don't succeed at these things that I take on to myself, I say, okay, wait a minute, hold up. I check myself. I remind myself, hold up, Yashika, you failed. Because why? I was the one that set the standard. So how do I fail my own standards? I don't follow my own standards. Fail my own standards. So if I tell myself I am going to go 30 days without doing something, or I'm going to stop doing something, or I'm going to achieve a goal, then I am going to achieve that goal. But here's the thing. If I don't do it right, I don't beat myself up, but I do check myself. Why? Because that's part of keeping that resiliency muscle stern, keeping it secure, keeping it tight. Because if you adjust in your schedule, so in other words, if I say, okay, for example, I say for the month of December, I want to lose 5 pounds. And it's just an easy, simple example. For the month of December, I want to lose 5 pounds before we go into the new year. Okay. Now, when that time comes and I don't lose those 5 pounds, okay, I don't say to myself, well, okay, Yashika, you didn't lose all 5 pounds. Well, you just give up. Okay, I might have only lost 3 pounds. But I say, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to extend this and I'm going to make sure that by this day. So what I'm saying is that I keep giving myself this. Why? Because sometimes our reality don't necessarily align up with our life. And so for whatever reason, right? Because we forgot that. I want to say, and think about it, in December, why would I say I want to lose 5 pounds in December? Okay. We already know Christmas coming around. You already know New Year's coming around. So what I'm saying is that when we do things sometimes, our reality doesn't really align up with our goals. And so we have to adjust. And in the Army, we call that a running estimate. Okay. We call that a running estimate, but I ain't here to talk about Army jargon, but it's called a running estimate. In other words, it means that as you are on your path to doing what it is you say you're going to do, sometimes you have to take a different route. Sometimes you have to turn to the left or turn to the right because it's not a straight shot. And that's okay. That's okay. Listen, I said I was going to be a millionaire. I'm talking about 7 digits in my account before I turned 50. Okay. Now, I don't have 7 digits in my account. I don't. I went to the bank. Trust me, and it ain't in there. All right. I went to the bank and it ain't in there. Okay. And I'm 52. That don't mean that I'm not going to get it. And that don't mean that I'm still not working to get it. That just means that my reality doesn't line up with my goals. And so therefore I have to adjust, but I'm still working towards the goal and I'm still going to get it. Just like I told y'all in 90 days, I want this to be a conversation. So when I do Hood Parenting Live, I want it to be a monologue, or excuse me, a dialogue, not a monologue between me and the audience. Why? Because I am here to educate. I am here to share wisdom. I am here to be like that elder that sit on the porch and talk to the youngins and tell y'all about life and things like that and what to do and what not to do, okay? And how to make sure y'all get to the age of 52 and still have it together, or shall I say as best you can, okay? And maybe be retired and maybe not be so stressed and maybe just, I don't know, whatever it is that we want, right? And whatever it is, because when I look at 90-year-olds, I look at them and be like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down and talk to you. Why? Because I want to know how they got to that age. Anytime I meet somebody that's older than me, and they got some years on them, I want to sit down and have a conversation with them. Why? Because they didn't did it. I want to know, what did you do and how. Listen, I don't know if it's gonna work for me, but you know what? I'm damn sure gonna try. I'm damn sure gonna try. If they tell me that they ate broccoli every day, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna eat broccoli every day. Now I don't know if it's gonna work, but damn it, if they told me that's what they know they did, and they feel like that's what got them to be 90, then you best believe I'm gonna have broccoli on doggone on Ubers, and they're gonna deliver to me every day, fresh. Okay, fresh. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it in my garden out back. That way I can go out there and grow me some. Because if they tell me that's what got them to 90, then I'm gonna eat me some broccoli every day. Believe that. Why? It ain't gonna hurt. It ain't gonna hurt. All it can do is help. That's all I'm saying. So this is what hood parenting is: taking those things, taking those experiences that I've been through, other people have been through, and us sharing them. Why? Because that's what it's about. I want the generations, my grandkids, my great grandkids, long after I'm gone, to be able to come back and say, you know what? My yaya left me a slew of information, right? A slew of information. So here's the thing, like I tell my children, listen, I don't want you to repeat any of the mistakes I've done. Not nan one. I've already cleared it out at this level. Okay, if life got 10 levels to it, I've already cleared out levels 1 through 5, honey. I don't need you coming back down here to levels 1 through 5. I need you to go back on up there and try levels 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because that ain't where I've been yet. I need you to go there. Don't come back down here doing this rubbish that I've been had to go through. I've already cleared this out down here. Go on, start at number 6 and keep going. That's where I'm at. I already done told you to fire hot. And I'm telling you, true story. True story. Before I go, I'm going to tell y'all a story. I may have said this before. I have a 30-year-old. And this is how I know when the fire's hot. When it comes to, sometimes people got to test it. But I'm telling you, you don't need to. My 30-year-old is in the military right now. He's been in there about 13, 14 months. Okay. But before we go down that line, I'm going to tell you a story when he was 1 year old. When we was 1 year old, maybe two, we was in Mannheim, Germany. I was in the military. We was in Mannheim, Germany. He was born in Germany, Heidelberg, Germany. So we were still in Germany, and I used to light the candles. Y'all know the candles that you have in your house. And, this was in the 90s. So they had just started coming out with them little candles you can buy, right? When make your house smell good. So I remember my son used to go over to the candle because he was old enough to walk, right? Because he was about two, 1 or 2. So on the coffee table, I would have my candle lit. And so whenever I would see him go to touch the candle, I would tell him, Taz, hot, hot, right? I would always tell him hot, hot, because he would do like this, like he was going to stick his finger in the candle. And I would tell him, Taz, hot, hot, the candle's hot. So one day, he go to stick his finger down in the candle. Okay? I'm sitting there watching him. I ain't say nothing. I let him stick his finger in the candle. He stuck his finger in the candle. He jumped back. He say, Mama, hot, hot? I say, yep, Tad, the candle hot. It's hot. From that point on, he never touched the candle. And so fast forward, he's 30 years of age now. He's in the military. I told him, I say, son, if you're going to go in the military, make sure you get your degree first. So when you go in there, you can make a difference, because I'm telling you, you are my child. You're prepared. He said, no, Mom, I'm not ready. So he went in as an enlisted soldier. So now he's realizing, Mama, you right. This shit is hot. I should have went in as an officer. What do I gotta do? I said, son, well, I don't know what to tell you, because like I said before, Taz, it's hot. It's hot. Listen, if this is your first time here, listen, I hope I have been thoroughly educational for you. I hope I have given you something that you can take away with you. But come back, because when I tell you we are going to rock with the Resiliency in Motion, Resiliency in Motion series is alive and well right here on Hood Parenting Live every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will share stories. I will tell you. I will listen. I will help you to navigate those times in your life where, you know what? How do I navigate this? So with that being said, if there's something that you want to talk about, or something you want advice about, or me to even give you a little, what would you do about it? I won't mention your name. I won't do anything. Go ahead and send me an email at hoodparenting73@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM or reply down here below in this video, and I will go ahead and I will make a special video for you. And maybe it'll be alive, maybe it won't. Depends on what you decide you want to do, or what I decide I want to do with it, honey. It just depends on what question you ask me, because if it's one of them good old juicy ones, honey, I can talk for hours on something like that. So you let me know. But again, this is Hood Parenting Live, and I'm your host, Yashika Foster, and I will catch you guys in the next one, okay? All right, turn on your notifications. Bye. Have a good week, y'all. Bye.